Hi there, welcome back to Japan and to our reaction and review to BAND-MAID's Don't Be Long, the B-side instrumental off of their new single Different. As always, this is the review video. If you want to see the reaction that I just did, you can see that by pausing this video, clicking the little link in the description below, which will open up a separate YouTube player where you can see the reaction, just in case you haven't heard the song before, as you might not have done, I hope you have. Or if you just wanted to see how I reacted upon first seeing it, hearing it. There's no video, didn't see it, just heard it. Anyway, here comes the review. Don't say I didn't warn you. Remember, if you want to see the reaction, pause this video first. Alright, here we go. So, this one, I think a lot of people probably, if you've been following this channel, you can probably guess where my background will be on this one. Now, as we keep on saying, because it was on the previous channel before it got shut down, we've listened to every single BAND-MAID song, album tracks, all of them, B-sides, everything on this channel before, including some of the songs which were instrumental and only ever played live. I'm really bad at remembering song names, so you know what I'm talking about. If you're a BAND-MAID fan, you probably do. So when it comes to this, I think, you know, it's something where I have to, first of all, set what my expectations are. I like instrumental music, but very often instrumental songs done by bands who are primarily not instrumental bands. You know, they're bands who have singers and tend to do, you know, more contemporary, normal style of pop and rock. Those groups, I tend to find their instrumentals tend to lean towards that sort of, hey, let's do something showy, and you can go, wow, yeah, there's a lot of cool skills in this, but it doesn't kind of make you go, yeah, that's like a must-hear song, which is interesting because I think I mentioned this reference in the reaction, and I can't remember if I got it right. It's the 60s band, was it The Shadows, the one who did like all the instrumental songs, which were like really catchy instrumental songs? You know, there can be setups where you can do like a rock band who does really good instrumental music. But as a general, like I say, it tends not to be something which I think gives the best results. Now, this one really surprised me. Not that I don't expect good instrumentals from BAND-MAID, but this kind of went beyond in a lot of ways. When I was told this was an instrumental B-side, I was kind of expecting to come out of it going, yeah, you know, you kind of know what you think your comments are going to be in advance. I was kind of thinking, I'm going to be talking about how good the skills were, how, you know, how they strung it together so they kept it sounding interesting throughout, or did they, didn't they? And, you know, which band members come to the front most prominent, you know, which players really sort of add something to the song. What really hit me above and beyond the musicianship, before I get into that, is that this had a quality that sometimes comes through in BAND-MAID's instrumentals, but this time especially, of sounding just like a song. You know, the fact it was instrumental was pretty much to the side. What Konami was playing for the best part could have been a vocal line. But she was playing it with the sort of expression that you get from guitar, in the same way that when Psyche does the singing, you know, if she just sung the notes perfect pitch but without any feeling, then you would kind of go, You know, there's a certain way that you can use the human voice to get the most out of a series of notes, and, you know, your own personal voice as well. In this case, you know, there's a certain way you can use a guitar to get the most feeling out of the notes, and I really like the fact that you could feel the way that the strings were just sort of being, you know, slightly bending the notes and everything, and there was that real good feel. It felt passionate. It felt like a lead vocal. Moreover to the fact that that is caught in my head. I love it when someone can get an instrumental caught in my head. With a song, you can get it caught in the head just through the lyrics. You know, you can have a set of lyrics, you know, I mean, like, pen, pineapple, apple, pen. There is not really any music going on there, but it gets caught in your head just because of the lyrics and the imagery. So when someone gets an instrumental caught in your head, that's pure musicality. And is going round in my head a lot right now. That's a pretty good starting point. This is catchy. That's one big point right there for it. It manages to be a catchy instrumental with feeling. The backing, the way the whole backing moved and built up and the sort of chord pattern they picked, like I said again in the reaction, it felt like it had feeling, it felt like it had urgency. It wasn't just like, here's a cool thing for you to bob your head along with. I have said this before, that I felt that when BAND-MAID in their earlier days, especially their earlier days of writing, they were very good at writing interesting songs, but I didn't notice until Conqueror came out. When Conqueror came out, I suddenly felt this album, for all the things that, you know, we've talked about the positives and negatives, and I did a full album review of that. And yeah, I love the production, but I hated the compression. But the thing is that the songs had much more feeling, as a general, on average, than I think I had noticed. And I suddenly realised a lot of what BAND-MAID had produced before, I just liked because it rocked. But I was like, this album makes me kind of, gives me more of a feeling, more of a sort of emotional response than any of their albums before, just through the writing. And this, again, carries that kind of sensation. You kind of get a feeling from this. There's almost like an emotion attached to it, which I like. It's kind of got that urgency. It's got an agency to it. It feels like something which is really sort of, it wants to sort of pass out a feeling. It's hard to word that really well. I probably should have thought better of that, but I do my reactions unedited, quickly, right after doing the reviews, quickly after doing the reactions, so I didn't give myself time to write notes. I never do. Don't blame me that I can't think of a good way of wording that poetically. But, like I say, the song had a real feeling of emotion to it, as well as being catchy, as well as being well played. Now, we have to go into the playing a little bit. As always, are we really surprised that they played it well? No, we've spoken about this band for all their songs. We gave them the award in the last year's end of year awards for, best musician. We gave it just to the whole band for that whole average level, quality level being so high. This, again, it does everything you expect, but I guess you can, when you're already expecting something to be amazing, I think you can still be happy that they just managed to nail it every time. Massive credit, I think, there were some bits where Misa's bass was pushed to the front in the mix, but as a general, it was kept fairly low. It seems that the attention was mainly played to Konami as she was playing effectively the lead melody for the best part. That's fine. I think as a mixing decision, that is totally legitimate and made sense with the way the song was balanced. However, I do think that not just those little licks that were turned up, listen to the whole bass line, it's really beautiful. And for me, considering that the lead melodic line, it kind of repeats itself, you're going over and over again, that you need to make sure that the backing is dynamic and interesting to stop it falling into a sort of annoying area. Usually the best sort of catchy songs are the ones where the melody is doing something simple on a repeat, whilst the backing is sort of subliminally keeping things different and interesting so that you can remember the simple topping, but the song is not just actually repeating. The subliminal backing elements are actually much more interesting. And I think a lot of that to me came from Misa, very much sort of in the shadows. They're giving a really interesting bass line and, keeping it dynamic whilst also supporting everything, whilst also being that link between the rhythm and the melody, as bass really should be in its best occasion. And of course, supported as well by the fact that Miku, I almost said Misa, Miku was playing very much a core sort of, just rocking along thing in the middle. That's why you need a Miku. I've said this so many times. Without Miku doing that core, then the band could start to maybe sound a little bit flaky. Having someone at the core who's able to just lay down the simple core elements that hold everything together, the glue, the substance between, what do they call it? Between you put bricks on top of each other, and what do you lay on top of the bricks that holds them all together? I can't remember any of the words I need today. But yes, she's that. And last but not least, hashtag no bias, we've got to talk about Akane. Am I surprised that it was brilliant? No. But as always, she did what Akane does best. The musicianship obviously was on point, but the fact that she knew all of the right changes to put in the right place to back everything up, exactly how to support it to keep it interesting without sounding sporadic and mad, sounding purposeful in every change, accurate in every change, and just apt to what was going on in the arrangement. As always, it's one of those things where without Akane, this would still be great, but it would only be half the song without what she does so interestingly and so skillfully in the backing, giving that rhythm, that beat underneath it all. So I absolutely loved the beat. I loved it. Had a little sort of bit of a trippy element at points, but always knew when to slam down on the right notes to give you that full impact. Again, I had to say in the same way as Different, I thought this was nicely mixed. There were certain parts where I felt that there could have been Konami's melodic guitar could have been given a bit more treble, because certain parts it seemed to sink a little bit down into what Miku was doing in the rhythm. That was probably my only criticism, but the levels, the production, it was nice, it was direct, it both had sort of that fullness and that power, whilst at the same time having sharpness in the way you could hear the high end of the drums. The kicks were coming through nice and energetic as well. Everything just sounded like it was really well balanced, so I can't criticise anything there. To be honest, I think this is, in my opinion, probably, after only one listen, I must admit, I'll have to give it more re-listens to see if it becomes a bit irritating if I hear that too many times. I don't think so at the moment. I just really like it, and like I said, the whole feeling behind it makes it stand out. But I'll have to listen to it more times to see if this comment's true, but I think as far as instrumentals are concerned, this is probably my favourite BAND-MAID instrumental to date. Sorry to anyone who is one of those, if it's not off of the first album, it's not good enough type people. And of course, in BAND-MAID's case, that means first album they wrote themselves. BAND-MAID don't have too many of those kind of fans, luckily. I think most BAND-MAID fans seem to be good at moving with the times. But yes, anyway, that's my comment. So I'm really interested to see what you guys think. Is this, anyone else say this is their favourite BAND-MAID instrumental to date? Do you think it's a really great support as a B-side? I think it's a fantastic B-side, whatever you think of it. What are your opinions? Do you like this? Do you dislike it? Where do you think it ranks? Do you think that they would have been better off doing this with a vocal line or without? Just tell me what you think. As always, music is only as good as it sounds to the listener. In this case, the listener is you. I'm just giving my opinions as someone who's worked with music my entire adult life. That doesn't mean your opinions are not just as important, so let me know what they are and justify them as always in the comments. Liking and subscribing is always appreciated for those YouTubery reasons. We're a non-monetized channel after all, so really helps us. Feel free to follow any of the social medias linked in the description below if you want to talk to more people about Japanese music. Remember as well the fact that we have a Patreon and the supporters are the people who keep this alive because, like I say, we're non-monetized. But just thank you anyway for making it through to the end of this video. Until I see you hopefully soon in Japan for the next one of these. For now though, ciao ciao.